Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this hand-in-hand frame inspired by verse 22 of Surah al-Rum, which says, "And among his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the difference of your languages and colors. There are indeed signs in that for those who know." I started with a 21 cm square piece of card, which I made by cutting almost 9 cm off the end of an A4 piece of card. I drew a 6 cm border around the edge of the card and then drew in some guidelines in pencil. Using a black drawing pen with a 0.5 size nib, I started to write the verse. I wrote some of the words in capitals and some in cursive font, going back to thicken the downward strokes, which gives this faux calligraphy effect to the writing. Throughout the world, people speak different languages and have different skin colors, and this verse of the Holy Quran tells us that these differences are signs, ayat, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This means that they should bring us closer to Him when we appreciate how beautifully He has created us all. You know, when we see a garden with lots of different color flowers, it's much more beautiful than if there was only one type of flower. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made so much variety in the world as a sign to us of His all-encompassing power. We should never use these differences to judge each other or be unfair to anyone. When I had written the first part of the verse, I added some dots to show there's more to the verse I haven't written, and then I added in quotation marks and the Quranic reference, which is 30:22. I then erased the pencil guidelines. I took the piece of card that was left over from when I cut the square, and I drew around a £2 coin to give me a small circle. I then drew in 4 fingers and a thumb using the top of the circle as a guideline. Take your time doing this. You could also use a larger circle if you prefer, so that the hand will be bigger and you will need less of them to make the frame, as each one takes a while to cut out. You could even trace around your own hand instead. I finished off the hand shape by drawing the bottom of the palm underneath the circle, and then I cut it out to make my hand template. I took some printed card. This one is called Vintage Textures, but you could use any printed or plain different color card or paper. You could even use old magazines or old birthday cards instead. I drew around the hand template on the different color card until I had enough hands for the frame. I used 20 for this frame, but if you're using bigger hands or have traced around your own hand, you'll need less. Make sure you have a variety of colors for the frame to show all the beautiful colors we are. Once the hands were all drawn, I started cutting them out. This took a long time, and you might want to ask your family members for some help doing this so that you can share the work. I decided to emboss a red heart onto each hand to show that even though we may all look different, we're all the same on the inside. I drew a heart in the center of each hand using an embossing ink pen, and then I sprinkled the embossing powder on top. I shook off the excess powder and used a dry paintbrush to remove any bits of powder that had stuck to the hand where I didn't want them. I did this for a few of the hands and put all the excess powder back in the pot. Using a heat gun, I started setting the embossing powder, making sure my fingers were out of the way by using my scissors to hold the hands in place. If you don't have any embossing supplies, you can use glitter and glue or even sparkly gel pens to get a similar effect. If you have heart-shaped stickers, they would look great too. The embossing really gives a nice sheen to the hearts, as you can see. I also embossed a few extra hearts onto some red card and cut those out for later. I started to arrange the hands around the verse, deciding where I want each one to be and overlapping them to make a circular shape. Then I took some double-sided foam pads and stuck each one down. The foam pads helped raise up the hands, which gave a lovely 3D effect. I then stuck down the little hearts I had embossed earlier using some double-sided tape. Finally, I used a red marker pen to colour in the words I had written in cursive script. And here we have our completed hand-in-hand frame celebrating the beauty of diversity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us appreciate the beauty and diversity of humankind, and may we never be guilty of judging anyone based on their outward appearance. Ameen. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.